healthy drinking it.
Oh yeah, you always feel healthy
Yeah.
drinking wine, you know?
Yeah.
You're like, how much my figure? It's not beer.
Yeah.
It's not make me full.
Yeah. Little grapes. Getting my fruit.
Yeah, getting your little fruit salad in a glass, baby.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. Sorry, I drink really fast. You don't have to keep up with me. It's like that hand to mouth thing.
Yeah, I have a dinner party later, so
you gotta
be like somewhat normal.
Control it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should have seen the first year I went to this dinner party.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to talk.
You got blasted.
Not the right group to do that.
Not the right group.
Good times.
Oh my gosh.
I've matured so much in the past couple of years.
I mean, my history with wine hasn't really been. I mean, I kind of grew up similar to you. I mean, North End, Seattle area. My parents taking me to wineries.
Yeah.
They would buy me like a new like puzzle.
Yeah.
Every time because they.
And we didn't have iPads back then.
Yeah, there's no iPads and shit. They had Game Boys, but I was not allowed.
Oh my god, I fucking loved my Game Boy.
I was not allowed to have one. They were really strict on no video games, and they thought that video games would rot my brain, or like electronics would rot my brain.
Yeah, I'm a perfect example of that.
So they brought me a puzzle every time. They're like, "Oh, let's work on a puzzle together, or play cards." And I'm like, "This is boring. Why am I going to all these wineries with my parents?"
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt. But then, also being little me who thinks that my parents have endless money, I'm like, oh, they buy so much wine. I couldn't just make a living off of them. Joke's on me.
Yeah. And I grew up with my mother would open like this bottle of like Columbia Crest, or like at the time she had no wine palate. You know, it was very like go to the grocery store, buy a bottle. Her favorite bottle was a Menage a Trois, and she is, if you know my mother, which none of you probably do, but she is the sweetest, very innocent person.
Such a kind-hearted
And she'd always say, "I feel so bad drinking this Menage a Trois because, you know, I'm not that type of gal."
Okay.
It's so funny. Then she would read the tasting notes on the back of the bottle, and then she'd be like, "Do I get that? Maybe a little bit." And then like try and look at the tasting notes on the back of the bottle.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that's kind of weird. And then I was working my first job serving at Carhartt Vineyard in Saintez Valley, and I didn't know shit about wine at all. It was kind of like, it was early on in Carhartt where they didn't really have like a solid training schedule or regimen or whatever. And then I didn't get trained at all. And then they just threw me in there.
Related to the Carhartts? Like Carhartt?
The clothing company?
Yes.
They are distantly related.
Okay.
Like Mike Carhartt, who planted all of the Carhartt vineyard vines.
Yeah. In
San Ynez. He is the second cousin of the CEO.
Okay.
Like his grandfather started, great-grandfather, I think Mike's great-grandfather started Carhartt Apparel in Dearborn, Michigan.
Okay.
Yeah. And so it's like a whole history. They're not business related. Like they don't get helped out financially from them. They're just allowed to use their name, and they get half off of the website for all their clothing.
I need to go find a Carhartt.
This is pretty fucking dope. Working for them definitely has its pluses because I did like my little
swag.
Yeah, my discount. And then when I left, I was just like, damn,
so
I have to buy more Carhartt stuff for winemaking, but this time it's not 50% off. What the fuck?
Yeah. This is what it really costs.
Like, oh my god. So I was just stuck there alone in the tasting room. No cut. It was like during the week. Like they're like, let's put this new guy in. Doesn't know shit about wine. We haven't really trained him. Let's just put him in as someone to be in the tasting room while we're out doing other things or working on the business, and he'll just be there. Yeah. Like I didn't see a soul most of the time. Like no customers. But I was like, I have anxiety. So I was prepping myself. I was like, I need to be professional. And I was like, if people walk in here, I don't know shit about wine, they're gonna notice. And I don't want to look like a fool around a bunch of these fucking wine enthusiast people who think they're,
think they know what they're
Hootie
talking about, but they
tootie.
don't.
Yeah, think they know what they're talking about, they fucking don't. And at the time I was like,
literally every person.
At the time I was like, well, wine tasters know what they're talking about. And now I've worked in the industry for over 6 years now.
You have a good palate.
Now it's just like, thank you, I appreciate it. But I learned by being in the tasting room alone. I had nothing but open bottles of wine in front of me. And so I was like, I might as well find out what each of these they had like 25 different grape varietals. So it's like the tasting was like,
are they all estate?
Burgundy to Bordeaux. They're not all estate, but most of it is.
Yeah.
I think they're like 85, 90% estate. But they've, I think, might have acquired more land.
Oh.
Possibly. I don't think I'm supposed to know that. But yeah, they're growing their estate program, their vineyard, really well. So I was just like, okay, what is a Pinot Noir? What is a Chardonnay? What is a fucking Merlot? What is a Cab Franc? And so I would go online, just Google all this shit. And then Wine Folly popped up all the time.
Oh, yes. Love Wine Folly.
Such a great resource if you're learning wine. Like, Wine Folly is amazing.
Even if you're just in the food industry and you serve wine, check out Wine Folly.
Yeah, if you're in the food industry and you don't know anything about wine, that's definitely something you should.
That's a good, simple
really
tool. Yeah. I use that religiously even after all these years.
Yeah, I reference it. I reference it today because for the life of me, I couldn't remember the sparkling wine sweetness levels on the grams per liter side, because we make sparkling wine where I work. And I was like, oh, is this brew? Is this extra brew? Is this, extra dry? Like, what is this? And so I had to go freshen up on the scale and then be like, okay, we did 12 grams per liter of sugar into this bottling. So that is brut still. Yeah. And so it's up until brut. And so I was trying to like figure out where I was, on the scale. And if, the saying, you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah,
I have
totally
lost so much, just like things I used to know, like over the years.
I know. I used to be so smart at one time, and then I started to hang out with geniuses.
Yeah.
And I lost it all.
Geniuses. But I do remember this one wine that struck me, because everything I was like, yeah, this tastes like wine or whatever. I can look for the notes or whatever. What makes this a Pinot Noir? Like, what are the tasting notes of that? So I go through the tasting notes of each grape variety using Wine Folly. And I came across Grenache, which I've never had before.
Okay, so you introduced me to Grenache.
I did?
Yes.
No way.
Yes.
No fucking way.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, where do you see it in this valley?
In this valley, you don't, because it can't grow up here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, like...
But you see it mostly in Yakima, I feel like.
Yeah. I mean...
Walla Walla.
Yeah, when you go down there, sure. Yeah. But not really.
Yeah. I am Grenache is one of my favorite grape varieties, period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think... And maybe Gamay?
Gamay.
Yeah.
I'm a big...
That's another one that you introduced me.
A big cheerleader of Gamay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Grenache. It was the Carhartts who made the Grenache, and I came across Grenache, and I was like, I totally botched the name.
If it's not Merlot, I don't know what it is.
Yeah. At that time, all I knew was Chardonnay, Pinot, Merlot, and Cabernet Sauvignon. That was about it. I was like, okay, but I didn't know the difference between any of them, except for Chardonnay. No, that's white. But yeah, I had the Grenache, and that was like my aha wine.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like I was in a bubble before.
Yeah.
This is the best as I can really explain this. I felt like I was like in this bubble where there was like the ceiling, there was walls. I was like, okay, I'd like to take a break for a minute, because if you enjoy the show, I have some amazing news for you. Do you want exclusive content, more episodes per week, behind the scenes snippets, discounts every time we drop some dope ass merch? Do you want your opinions and hot takes to be heard on the show and be a producer on the show? Because if you do, head to patreon.com/officialbungpod. We want to hear what you have to say. We want to see your hot takes. We want your opinions. We want to cover your topics on this show. Just be a part of the Bung Pod Jabroni gang. Head to patreon.com/officialbungpod. Now let's get back to the show. This is wine, and then I had Grenache.
This is wine.
This is wine. Okay, this bubble is wine. It's wine is wine. Whatever.
Has wine? Has alcohol? Or I mean grapes?
Has
What?
alcohol? Has grapes. And that bubble just popped once I tasted Grenache. I was like, wine could be so much more than I thought it was.
Yeah.
I was like, there's so much depth into this. I was like, wait, how many fucking grape varieties are there? Because I've never heard of this grape. And I'm trying it, and this blew my mind.
Yeah.
And so I Googled it, and I was like, okay, there's a lot of fucking grapes out there.
I know.
There's over 3,000 grapes in the world.
I know.
And like 1,500 of them are just in Italy.
Yeah.
Italy has like so many grapes. So many different types of grapes.
Yeah.
Per region is just like, is astounding to me.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I wish we had, I mean, we have like one winery here that does Italian styles. But besides that, we're very limited on that. And people get, because it's not their general French wines.
Yeah.
They either like it or they don't.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that we're in the range with France, which makes sense, but we're just so used to these French wines that
and there's
we
so much
just get
depth
almost
with Italy.
uncomfortable.
Yeah, there's so much depth with Italy.
But Americans are weird.
Seth Kitsky with Upside Down Wine, he didn't give us his bottle for free, by the way. I bought this, and we're not sponsored by them, so it's just a bottle that we're drinking today, and it's a good example. So Seth also does a Nebbiolo, which is
I love Nebbiolo.
Nebbiolo is fucking amazing.
Woo!
That's a great variety if you don't know.
That is a very interesting grape.
Barolo, Barbaresco, yeah.
Those are interesting. Nebbiolo is a very interesting grape. It's kind of like Barbera. They can deal with these gnarly winners.
Really, Nebbiolo? Okay.
Yes, especially like you could find it almost like, okay, not sure if this is true. This is what I was told, but like close to the Swiss Alps because it's a hardy grape.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is northwest Italy.
Yeah, so I mean, like it can handle
Piemonte.
Yeah, it can handle those cold winters.
Yeah, it is cold hardy. Do you know if it's early ripening or not?
No, I don't believe it is.
Okay, because here up in north central Washington, there's certain grapes that we can't grow just because they're late ripening, like Grenache and Vedra. Syrah is great here.
Yeah.
But like Nebbiolo would be one that would be really cool to grow here. I
do know a winery here that grows it.
Oh yeah, that's right. There's one.
Yeah.
That I know about. Do you have the time? I don't even
2
know.
minutes.
We have 2 more minutes? Yeah. We only have 2 more minutes, man. This podcast goes fast.
Especially when I start drinking.
Especially when we both start drinking.
You're looking a little empty there, and I know we can handle this in 2 minutes.
I am a little empty. I need a little topper-opper.
But yeah, I mean, grapes are fun. I mean, wine is fun. The whole experience is fun. And also the culture it brings. The networking, you can meet with it too. If you know just even a tad bit about wine and you go into a setting, like a very professional setting,
huge point,
and you know a little bit about wine, you can go jerk off any CEO and be fine.
That's facts. That's so true. So true. Like you're at a business meeting at dinner and try and impress a client or whatever.
Yes.
You can just be like, oh, could you bring over the Premier Cru?
Oh, yeah. Let me tell you the tasting notes on this bitch.
Yeah.
Look at them legs.
Or like order something very obscure. Oh, this is such a great example. Speaking of Gamay, one of my favorite grapes. So Beaujolais has such a fancy name. And in any restaurant that serves international wines, if their wine list is good, and if they have a Beaujolais on there, that is the best wine to order during a client dinner or, a professional dinner setting or a lunch. You order a because it sounds so fancy off the tongue.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, can I get your Fleury Beaujolais, please? That sounds great.
Yeah.
And it's so like comparatively to
even
most
the
other wines,
waitress
it's so
will think you're
inexpensive.
smart.
Yeah, the waitress will be like, I don't know what that is. Because
You'll
a
be
lot
like,
of people
all right,
don't even know
go
it's on the
Google that
list.
and then come back to me.
Yeah, get that because it's so cost effective.
Yes.
I feel like I'm about to go on a tangent here, so I'll stop it.
Yeah, we can bring that back.
We can bring it back another time. Beaujolais will always be a topic on this podcast. But anyways, thank you guys for watching and listening. Thank
you for dragging me in this.
Oh yeah, I got you. You're
I'm
mine
always
now.
here.
You're mine forever. Yeah, now you're obligated. You gotta hang out with me and drink wine and talk shit.
I should have thought about this more.
You got fucked.
Bend me over, baby.
Damn it.
Fuck.
How dare you force me to have a good time? Thank you guys for listening to the pod. Go on patreon.com/officialbungpod. Join the Bung Pod Jabroni gang. Help support the podcast if you want to. We'd be very appreciative of that.
Yes, and follow us on Instagram and TikTok because we're hip with you kids.
At Official Bung Pod. So Instagram, TikTok, Patreon, Official Bung Pod. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.